Hey, on this episode of the Man Cave Technology Show, we are going to be talking about iPhone 8 rumors, augmented reality. Dalton has another interesting piece of tech news from Dubai, I believe. And we're going to be talking about, should you hold out for the new Xbox Project Scorpio or go ahead and buy an Xbox One S on this edition of Man Cave Technology Show. Hey, welcome to the show. We have some exciting things planned for you this week. And this week was Valentine's Day, which is why our set is a lovely array of colors. And Donovan worked hard getting that set up. But did everyone have an interesting and great Valentine's Day this week?
Yes. It was. It was a good. It was a good Valentine's.
What time is it?
Yes. I don't know what that means, but
the lines for flowers were long. Let me tell you that.
Wow. Is that why you left out of here so early yesterday?
Yes. I did leave the man cave early yesterday.
I got something very cool. It was called a Man Crate Exotic Meats.
Oh, yes. I've heard of this.
Yeah,
awesome.
So this is on the vlog from last week. I'll put a link to it down below, but it was really cool. So first off, you get this thing, and it is in a crate of wood, and it comes with a pry bar. And first I felt like not very manly because I was having trouble opening it. And then I realized
with the pry bar.
Then I realized they've kind of rigged it so that you open it on the top. That's the only place they give you a little, place to crank up. And then in it was all kinds of stuff from pheasant to buffalo.
Buffalo.
Probably some little baby lamb. I don't know. Bison was in
Bison.
there. Maybe some dolphin meat. It was really good. So
I don't know if that's legal, but we'll have to figure it out.
Hey, it is the exotic. It says the world is your deli. That was what the card said that came in it. So this week we have a lot of stuff going on. There's a lot of rumors about the iPhone 8 and some stuff, conversations. And, rumors are always that. They are rumors. And people are always talking and rumoring out things. But one of the rumors is that it's going to be a little more expensive and will not be quite as cheap and as inexpensive as some of them have been in the past. And the other thing is that somehow augmented reality is going to be a big part of this. Have you guys heard of that?
Yeah, a little bit of the augmented reality. One of the things with the pricing is that they're finally changing it. Well, possibly changing it to be even more expensive. So I don't know how users...
As if you could get it more expensive.
$1,000 for a phone, $1,500. Why not $2,000?
Yeah, and this is every year that we're gonna have to spend. We're already spending $750, $800.
But how much is the Google? You have the, what is it called? The Google Pixel.
Google Pixel.
Yeah. How much is the Google Pixel? I mean, isn't it in the same
more like
range?
In the 700 and lower, depending on what model you get. But I mean, the subsidized pricing, of course, that's what I go for. But yeah, I mean, might as well buy a car.
True. There you
car.
go. So Tim Cook has said that he likes augmented reality, so we know that much. That's kind of how things come out of Apple. Tim Cook likes it. But one of the things that's been interesting is, we had the idea of virtual reality, and virtual reality is cool and you completely escape. But as we kind of have talked about in the past, if you could wear glasses or do it with your phone and see things and overlay things into the real world, that works pretty awesome. And I think the big experiment of this has been Pokemon Go.
Yeah.
Which, I remember the first day Pokemon Go came out. I wasn't, I don't know why. It just wasn't on my radar. I was at the park with my wife and we were walking and I saw some guy and I thought, here's some guy in his mid-20s walking around really sketchy with a Pokemon hat on, and I thought he was taking pictures of people at the park because he was walking around. He went in the bathroom, so I started following this guy because I'm like, this is weird. And then I started seeing other people do it, and then I found out, they're playing a game, but I thought a bunch of creeper, at the park.
Yeah, well, you wouldn't be wrong.
And then I started to see that there were hundreds of people out walking in hordes doing this, and so augmented reality, I think that really showed that there's a lot that can be done with augmented reality.
Yeah, I think Pokemon Go is really just the first step to this. I think that, as big as that game has become and is still, pretty hot out there on the App Store, I think that we're just barely touching the surface.
Right. Just from a commercial standpoint, imagine what would happen if all of a sudden you could just walk around with a phone and see, and this is kind of where people are afraid it's going to go bad. I mean, you just have a million advertisements, but what if you did see, oh, here's, some special Subway special if you check it out with your augmented phone? I mean, I don't know. Do you think that it's going to work on the phone, or do you think that like what Google was trying to do with Google Glasses was a better approach? Because do I constantly want to pull out my phone as opposed to just have glasses on?
Sure, I think it's still going to be they're still going to try to get you on the goggles to no one wants to be on their phone like this.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm seeing everything. No, they want to be in the world. So I think you're definitely going to need the visor at some point.
Right.
But,
yeah, I think you're going to have the the Google Glass implementation if this is going to become the next big thing.
Contact lenses.
Well, and when does the phone
lenses
become the visor? When does it become the guy? Yeah.
And I think once we dive into that realm, the phone will quickly become the visor or the Google Glass implementation at that point.
Right. Well, and what Dalton said with like contact lenses, I mean, imagine this. Right now, I'm having to look at my computer to see notes and things. Imagine if I could just look at you guys and there were my notes, and I didn't even have glasses that looked sketchy or like I had, a computer on the side, but it was just there. And I think people used to think this is never going to happen. This is so far off. And I think that we will be seeing this kind of thing very soon.
Yeah, I think in the next 5 years, we'll probably really dive deep with like augmented reality and virtual reality and things like that. And we'll see where it takes us.
So, with Apple, there's obviously so many rumors and different things out there, but what do you think, like, what would you like to see a company do in a phone? I think one of the things that I thought would be gimmicky, but has turned out to be awesome is fingerprint stuff, because you just unlock your phone like that. But like if Apple or whoever could change something, what would you want to see a phone producer do in a phone that would make you go, wow, that's really helpful?
Projection keyboard. I've wanted to I saw like on the iPhone 6 like pre-release trailer, they had like a little, I mean, this was like totally fake, but they had like a little projector.
Fake news.
And they have those keyboards though that project out, and they you like can type on like a laser basically keyboard. But if that was in my phone, it'd be so convenient to type notes on my phone, because I have notes in my phone. Well, I mean, I don't actually use them because I don't want to like sit there like this. But like even on the iPad, you can have like a keyboard attachment, but that should be in my phone so I can just start typing away.
Right. And I was looking earlier, Apple has some patents on basically keyboards and things that it was kind of interesting. I was trying to figure out if it was for the iPad or, they've talked at one point about maybe getting rid of physical stuff on the buttons and having those all virtual so you could change languages.
Yeah.
But that would be interesting. And I would be interested in seeing projectors in phones. I think that technology is still really young, but people would have used to, if you said you're going to be a camera flash on a phone, they would have looked at you like, what?
Yeah.
And now with the same idea, I mean, imagine if you could have super, super bright LED and actually do like daylight projection and just here, we'll put something on the wall. That would be cool.
Yeah, I mean, to be able to get out your phone and then instantly share what you're looking at.
Right.
That's really
one of the other rumors is wireless charging, which a lot of other companies have done. Apple's always a little slow, but apparently they're going to do that. And I think, all phone manufacturers, can we just get back to the days of the early Nokia phones where they lasted for days?
Yeah.
I mean,
you look at those Nokia phones, they get lost in an ocean for 10 years, come back, and they're still, being able to charge up.
Right.
Wireless charging also doesn't work as great as you'd think, because if you're, like, for me, like, if I'm laying in bed and I'm, like scrolling through my timeline or something, and my phone is plugged in, it works great. I can use it in any angle. Now, if I have a wireless charger, you have to hold the wireless charger and your phone, and it's just like, okay, this is sort of convenient, but not really.
Yeah, it's only good like if you are just laying your phone down. But
exactly.
I do that all the time too. I come in, it's late at night. You don't want to set your phone down. You're going to plug it in because you want to hold it. And I can see that. That would be
it's
goofy.
Just like you're just holding a disc. It looks like a coffee warmer, and you're like, okay, this isn't working for me.
I think the next deal, like I was really big into Qi wireless charging when that technology came out, but it is slower than like a 2 amp charge or a 3 amp charger now with like Qualcomm stuff coming out. But what I like to see is, a Nikola Tesla type deal where you can just be anywhere in your house.
Right.
And then up to 5 or 6 feet away, you're charging at, an amp or two.
It's almost wireless electricity.
Yeah, straight up making it happen.
Okay, Tesla.
Yeah, it's almost like I'm talking about Tesla or something. But I think that's the next generation when everyone's going to be using wireless is when we finally figure that out.
Right. Yeah, because it is fascinating. You think about all the things that we do wireless now that people would have used to say there's no way.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, if the phone, now we just stream video, anything. So power has been one of those things that has never worked wirelessly really very well,
Yeah.
but it can. And I think part of the problem is just when you do move large amounts of current and things like that, you can do wireless power like in a lake or in something, but it's not going to be good
Yeah.
for you. So that's kind of what we got to figure out. But that's something that hopefully people smarter than us will figure out and we will be able to use and to do. So Dalton, I understand you have some another interesting piece of tech news for us. Tell us about it.
I do. So I heard about this just last night. There's this new drone idea basically that's coming to Dubai, and it's a one-person drone taxi, and it can fly you up to 30 minutes away. And it's supposed to just skip traffic. I mean, it flies, so that's kind of a given. But it holds like one passenger up to 220 pounds, so anything like anybody under that, and then you can have a bag or whatever. But it's a single person, and then there's like some built-in fail-safes too, to, I guess, to like make people feel a little bit more comfortable. Like if it's gonna crash, it'll just land at the closest place
It'll
can.
land in front of a truck.
Yeah.
There you go.
It'll land at like its safe destination, but it sounds expensive to me, so I'm not sure how it's gonna work. But I've seen them, and it looks like a normal little drone scaled up huge for a person. It has like 4 propellers and everything, and they already have them out. I don't think they're being used, but it's a pretty cool idea, I think.
Yeah, and that's why a lot of these other countries have to exist, because a lot of things that you can't do here in the United States,
They have to be done.
get done in other places where you don't have the laws, because the laws are so restrictive in the United States. But that is pretty fascinating, and I think it'll be interesting to see where drone technology goes. Obviously, Amazon exploring with drone delivery.
Yeah, they're doing a lot in England right now with
Yeah.
very certain people. Just they get free Amazon drone deliveries, and then all they have to do is give them a review.
Right.
So yeah, very interesting.
Yeah, and I really think that if the FAA were to work out a great system in the United States, at least, where basically drones had a takeoff so there was kind of an area where you don't have normal air traffic at those low altitudes, so you're away from airports, but then you just kind of have a layer that's basically for drone traffic.
Yeah, I think the big thing now is just with the FAA. I could be wrong. I don't work for them or anything, but I think the big thing that they think about all the time is just so much congestion.
Right.
I mean, we have so many planes and helicopters and individual little Cessnas and stuff like that. That imagine all the drones that we would want for Amazon. There would be hundreds of thousands of them just up in Seattle. Just going around.
And, I think this is where we get back into some of those problems of what technology should be accessible. Imagine if they had done that with cars and they had said, well, imagine all the cars and all the streets, it's just too much. So we're only going to let certain people do it and certain companies do it. And so this is where, there is some safety issues with the drones, but there's safety issues with having huge trucks out on the road. Mm-hmm. And so, this is one of those things where I think in countries outside the United States, we're going to see more innovation, and then it'll be interesting to see what they do and what ultimately makes it to the States and kind of where that goes. But drones have definitely come a long way. I mean, just in the last couple of years, it's a very emerging technology and really cool stuff.
I think one of the cool things that I read about it was that it goes up to like 60 miles an hour, which is, I mean, obviously like fast.
Yeah, you're rolling.
But the good thing about that is like you can go 60 on the freeway here, but then you have to like turn or watch out for other cars. But if you're in a drone taxi, you can fly right over buildings.
Right.
So 60 miles an hour is way faster in a drone than it is in a car. So, I mean, it could be slower and safer, I guess, flying like the Jetsons or like Star Wars or something. So, yeah, it could work out.
Right, yeah. What would also be interesting is imagine how many times we take a trip every day in a car just to deliver something or to pick something up. And so imagine now if instead of me even going to do that, I could just send my drone over to your house.
Yeah, your carrier pigeon. Yeah,
and it just comes, and then you put in there what you're supposed to, or put anything you want to get rid of. And think of the fun you could have with that. Put some stray animals in there. And
oh my goodness, Josh, what are you
right.
into?
Pranks to the next level.
Yes.
Oh man.
Yeah, you have to borrow
sky.
some milk from someone, and they send you back a kitten or a cat, or I don't know.
Wow.
Wow.
Don't even know. But that will be pretty interesting to see where that goes, and I'm excited for that. So we're kind of at a state of consoles. We talked last week on the show about the Nintendo Switch coming out, and we're kind of at a place where, there's been some talk this week about, hey, should you hold out? Say you're wanting a console right now and you've decided the Nintendo Switch is not where you want to go because you're more into bigger games, Fallout, Halo, some of these things. Do you hold out for kind of the next gen of PlayStation and Xbox, or do you go ahead and buy one of the consoles that they just updated? Because both have had some little refreshes. I have the Xbox One S. It's a little smaller. It can do some things in 4K, but other than that, it's not really, there's not really a whole lot to it. It has a bigger hard drive. So, where would we steer people in that direction? And what do you hope that really ultimately they end up putting in these new consoles is going to make them better than what's out there today?
Yeah, I think the big thing with consoles now is what I would tell people is if you don't already have one of these Xbox One, One S, or a PlayStation 4, or even a PlayStation 3, or maybe a souped up Xbox 360, is to hold out until the next console generation, just because then we're going to get the full 4K integration, most likely with games. Because like the One S can do 4K, but it's only for certain things, or movies, or Blu-ray, things like that. It can't do it with games yet. But with the new hardware technology, I know we're going to transition to Project Scorpio, but with the new technology, we're going to be able to do 4K gaming. In a PlayStation 4 now, can't do that. So I would say hold out if you don't already have one. We're looking at probably 6 to 10 months and something will probably be dropped, and we'll get something new.
Now, on the flip side of that, the prices have really dropped significantly on some of the current gen stuff.
You can get an Xbox One for what, $230-$40 online with clearance. Easily.
I'm a believer in never buy the new anything.
And that's why we have you on this show, because we need that voice.
Because ever since when I was 12, I saved up all my money and I was like, I'm gonna get an Xbox. And so I got an Xbox 360, and I was like, this is the best thing ever. I didn't even have enough money to buy the whole thing. I bought it, and then I was like, I don't have any games. And I was like, my brother has money. So I was like, Emmett, you can own the game, but I'll own the console.
Nice.
And that actually worked out. But then I got the Red Ring. Then I was like, okay, that sucks. So I got a used Xbox for pretty cheap, Red Ring. And then I was like, okay, that's really bad luck. And then I got the arcade, and I just took my hard drive over. And it's worked fine ever since. I've had it for years now. But if I just waited for that next iteration, it would have been perfect. So it's I don't know. I see with the MacBook crashes, for example. It's not always going to happen, but it's when you get that new generation of stuff,
you can definitely
always
have
has
some problems.
So I don't know. I think that, like Ryan was saying, you can get some really cheap Xbox Ones. I've seen them for less than $200, depending on games and stuff, on Craigslist. So it's that's a really good deal.
Yeah, that's really cool, and that is true. I think there are some people who maybe enjoy the punishment of being an early adopter and almost expect it. Then there are people who don't understand that, and so they buy the brand new thing, and then they're just really, really mad, and they're like, "This isn't fair. This isn't right." And then there's people like Dalton who just laugh at some of us, and then they wait a couple of months, and then they have something better. And a lot of people may not realize this, but even though the product keeps the same name, you better believe that they change stuff and fix those little problems months in. And then even though it's still the same thing, they don't make a big deal of it, but you're getting a product that is a revision and has things improved on it. And they're not obviously going to come out and say, hey, everybody who bought the first one, guess what? You have a really bad chip in there that's probably going to crap out. But they're going to fix that because it's in their best interest. And that's kind of what they do. Now, a lot of listeners may say, I don't even want to mess with consoles. I would rather do it all on the PC. And so where do you guys see kind of that going? I know that Microsoft was changing things to allow you to buy a game once and be able to play it on both platforms. That was always a problem for me. I hated buying a game on the Xbox, and then it's like you want to play it on your souped-up PC. Now you have to buy it again. But do you think that we're going to see more PC use, or do you think that as these consoles get bigger and better, the PC gaming may stay just with people who love that, but actually less people? And where do you guys think that's headed?
Well, actually, just the other day, like I want to say like 4 days ago or something, I was talking with some of my friends on their Xboxes while I was on my computer because I don't have a new Xbox.
Yeah.
And so like there's already the UI is implemented into your PC. If you have Windows 10, you can just go onto the Xbox thing and sign in. So I think that the cross-platform gaming would be awesome. Like if you could have like not even necessarily playing people that were on Xbox, but just like you're saying with the games, like switching it. I think that'd be huge. Just because, like, you know, you just buy it once and then you play it on the souped up PC. And 4K gaming on the PC is actually pretty reasonably priced now, I think.
Yeah, it's about that.
Like, I don't know how much the new console is going to be, but you can get, like a 1060 or something, which could reasonably 4K game, especially if you're comparing it to a console at, like, 30 FPS to, like, 60 FPS. And they're under, like, $300, and then you can get a 1070 for like $350 or something. So and that'll do like VR and everything. So I think that if you want a PC game, it's becoming more easy to get. I guess.
It's more achievable, more affordable. But you're still seeing a really large price differential. I mean, the PCs are still probably about 2 times the amount of consoles. Now that used to be outrageous. It used to be more like 4 times or 5 times. But I think both of those markets are coming down as far as price for what you get. Yeah. And I don't think PC gaming is going away anytime soon. That's
right. One of the things that's kind of disturbed me, and I kind of came from doing most everything on consoles, and then last year decided to build this awesome, epic PC gaming. First off, I tried to do SLI with 2 of the 980s, and I was just looking up the price on them because that's the other thing. You know, I paid about twice what they're going for now, and it's only been 9-10 months.
Well, you bought that like a month before the 1080.
True, it was kind of a fill. But the SLI of linking those 2 cards rarely ever worked. A lot of times there's a driver update and things just don't work. And I found I spend a lot. I think to play games on the PC, you either have to never change anything or enjoy sometimes troubleshooting, because on my Xbox it just always works. I just go, I sit down, it works. It's not like there's an update and now the thing's not going to work.
Well, with PC gaming, I don't think it's going anywhere, but what people don't often think about when they compare it to consoles is a console does one thing. It can play a movie, it can play whatever, it can do, stream Netflix, but it generally does one thing. It plays the game. Whereas your PC is meant to do, just like Windows and Android, it's meant to do a plethora of things, from Photoshop to playing a game to all these different things. So you're going to have to go through all the troubleshooting.
Right.
And I think with the just, I don't know in the world, but just in America, the knowledge of people, the intelligence of people using computers versus consoles, I think consoles are still going to win out. And with the price differential and with prices coming down, and now the new consoles can do 4K with 4K TVs, I think everyone's just going to go buy the PlayStation 5.
Well, and especially with like the consoles, they're outputting usually to one screen. I've never seen a console
with
multi-screen.
They actually can. Sorry to interrupt,
no,
but
please do.
this was years ago in a little like LAN that we did.
Mm-hmm.
You could combine Forza games to have a complete dashboard.
Oh, interesting.
With multiple screens. Now, the thing is that you need multiple Xboxes to do it.
Oh, gotcha.
To link them up,
you can't use one console, but if you and your buddies are like, we need the ultimate gaming experience, and then you all come to one house and you just have like 3 flat screens, you can have like a multi-screen display.
That's interesting.
So that's
I've never seen that done.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Like you were saying with PCs, I mean, you could do the multi-display, and it can do those other things, but again, you're going to have all those troubleshooting issues.
But basically, especially with having those multiple displays, that's where a lot of your troubleshooting issues come to, because games are not made natively for multi-screen. Usually they have settings for that, and a lot of games are coming to that realization that the PC gamers want that immersive feeling, especially with like ultra wide coming into play.
Right.
Yeah. But just that troubleshooting. And
and just the simplest fact of the matter, the Xbox hardware doesn't change. it's not like Josh has two 980s. You have, a 1080. Say he has a 1060. It's all different. I have a different motherboard. It's all different. The Xbox, you get the same Xbox that I do, and it just works.
Right, which is good and bad. I mean, this has always been the whole Apple versus Microsoft thing. Apple only has to make their operating system work on like 10 computers.
Yeah.
And so they're not dealing with that. But at the same time, that's why the Mac Pro is a joke. It's like the last one came out, I don't even know, 2013 or something. As where on the PC side, you could go buy the latest, greatest, whatever today and put it in. But then Microsoft has to make it work on all those devices. And so I think it's just kind of that trade-off of, do I want something that's maybe slower and older but will work for everything versus doing it on gaming on a PC where maybe you're going to have some hiccups, but you can also make some upgrades. You can do really cool stuff and get that latest and greatest.
That's like I think the thing is, for most people, the console is what you want to do for the price, because you can build a PC for that price, but you have to build it. And you have to, and most people that are looking at that price point aren't looking to build a PC.
Yeah.
But when you have the enthusiast grade, like 2 980s, it's like, it's like you kind of want a little bit of, I mean, you don't want any troubles, obviously. If you plug it in and it works.
Yeah.
But it's like, it's like you want to build it and you want to be like, I have 2 980s, or like, like exactly. It's like when you look at Linus, he's like, yeah, we have 2 Titan X's or 7 Titan X's in this thing, and it's not practical at all, but it's fun. So it's like, I think that there's a little bit of like buy-in in that in the PC world too, though, is that like you kind of want to build it yourself. And like you can, like I could change out anything in my computer as like compatibility wise at any time, and RAM lasts lifetimes, and CPUs last longer now, and GPUs aren't going out as fast. So it's like they're making upgrades, but it is more expensive.
Yeah, well, and also, doing modding and mods and things in games. I mean, that's one of the things that you're not going to be doing a lot on your Xbox. If you want to, do the presidential mod in Grand Theft Auto and fly President Trump around in Air Force One, you're going to need the PC to do that. But interesting enough, like in Fallout 4, they did do an update, and they actually are providing those mods on the Xbox, which is kind of interesting. And I think there was like a disclaimer or a warning when you go to do that, because I think people, once again, on the Xbox, you're used to that experience. This will always work.
Yeah, I think when, just circling back to what you were saying earlier, Josh, about the whole like Apple versus Microsoft, one thing that we need to understand about like Sony and Microsoft making these consoles is, yes, Apple may not release a new Mac Pro until 4 or 5 years later. It's 2017 and we're still looking for something new, and the hardware hasn't upgraded. But even though Sony and Microsoft do the same thing with the Xbox and the PlayStation, there are significant hardware upgrades that last a very long time. I remember having my PlayStation 3, and right before I sold it, right when the PlayStation 4 come out, I was not having any issue. It was fine for what we were doing. So when the PlayStation, and that's why, I would be on the venture of waiting a little bit, but with the PlayStation 5, I would just tell people wait for that, because it's going to last you a very long time. And you can probably resell it to someone on Craigslist or eBay, and it will last them a very long time.
There you go.
Hey, we're going to wrap up this week's episode. Make sure that you subscribe to this YouTube channel, Man Cave Technology. We're going to try to be live streaming this, hopefully by next week, where everything hinges on Donovan. And no, it actually hinges on me, and Donovan's working on some audio latency issues. So thank you for watching. Please subscribe, and we'll catch you next week.